I know what you're thinking. Robbie, it's not even May yet. Why are we talking trades? But like I always say, it's never too early to talk trades here on this channel. So I'm going to give you my top 10 trade candidates as of right now. I'm going to do them power ranking style based off of performance and where the teams are at in the standings. So I'll give you my top 10. Let's get to it. At number 10, I'm just going to say the Braves. I know this might sound absolutely crazy, but the Atlanta Braves are not off to a great start right now. 5-13. And I know plenty of teams in the past have bounced back, like the Washington Nationals in 2019. The Astros just last year got off to a terrible start, ended up making it to the postseason. Now, for the Braves, there is absolutely no reason why this team could not get back on the horse and turn their season around. They have a ton of talent on this team. This lineup is stacked. You're going to be getting Ronald Acuna Jr. back soon. You got some great pitching with Chris Sale. Spencer Strider just came back. Spencer Schwellenbach as well. Grant Holmes in there. You got a couple of other young pitchers. You got some pretty decent arms in the bullpen. Absolutely no reason why the Braves could not turn this around. But let's say they don't. Let's say they continue to stagger this way all the way up until, June, July. Then you might have to consider maybe trading a couple of pieces. And that doesn't necessarily mean that's the nail in the coffin. Take a look at the Tigers last year. They were sellers at the deadline, ended up making it to the postseason with a strong second half. So maybe the Braves could end up making some trades in the end. And who knows, maybe turn their season around down the road. But let's just say the Braves end up being sellers. They do have some candidates here that could be on the move if they were to go that route. Someone like Marcell Ozuna, he's going to be hitting free agency after this year. A very good bat that could help out a lot of lineups. Raisel Iglesias would be a good arm for a lot of back end of the bullpens out there. A couple of other guys are going to be having club options for next year. Pierce Johnson. I don't think Ozzy Albies would be going anywhere. Maybe someone like Orlando Arcia could help out. You got Nacho Alvarez there. If you moved him, that could give him some more playing time. Who knows? Maybe even Chris Sale, if a team was really willing to give up a decent amount for him, he's got a club option for next year. And maybe even someone like Sean Murphy could be a trade candidate. Drake Baldwin is waiting in the wings, so maybe they could find a deal there if a team is in need of a catcher at the deadline. Again, I don't see a reason why the Braves couldn't turn their season around, but this is a pretty bad start, and if they can't get it together, who knows what could end up happening. But the Braves definitely have some trade candidates if they end up going that route. At number 9, I got Kyle Finnegan. Now, coming into the year, I didn't think the Nationals were quite there yet. I still think they're about another year away from contending, and as of right now, they got a record of 7-11. There's definitely a chance they could be sellers yet again at the deadline this year, and one name that was popping up a lot last year was Kyle Finnegan. Ended up staying put. Now, he had an okay year last year. He's got a good amount of velocity, but the strikeout numbers have been down with him the last couple of years. His fastball was getting hit a bit too hard last year, but he is showing some improvement so far this year. 7 games, ERA at a 1.17, FIP at a 2.49. The strikeouts are above 9 strikeouts per 9. He's seeing some better advanced metrics as of right now. He's getting a bit more life on the fastball. So Kyle Finnegan, I definitely think could be a good trade candidate for a lot of teams out there. Teams are always looking for bullpen help at the trade deadline. At number 8, I got Brandon Lowe. Now, as of right now, the Rays are 8-10. They just dropped 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox this past week. And coming into the year, I was a little unsure about the Rays. Yes, I love their starting pitching, but I wonder if their lineup and their bullpen have enough. And they're not even at their home ballpark. They're going to be back at Tropicana Field next year. So I wonder if the Rays, are going to be a team that's heavily in contention this year. I could even see a scenario where, maybe they're 4 or 5 games out. They still make a couple of moves and they still end up trying to compete down the stretch, kind of like what the Tigers did last year. The Rays have a ton of young talent in their organization. And one guy I'm looking at is Brandon Lowe. He was popping up last year at the trade deadline. This is a guy that's had a good track record when healthy of being a good bat in the lineup. Off to a pretty slow start so far at 93 WRC plus overall, but he is showing some good advanced metrics when it comes to the expected numbers and the batted ball profile. So I definitely think he's going to heat up at some point. He's going to be a guy that's going to give you some decent pop, again, when healthy. I could see him being on the move. So another guy I could also see is Yandy Diaz. He was coming up at the trade deadline last year. It looked like he was going to get moved at one point, ended up staying put. Him and Pete Fairbanks were coming up. I could definitely see Pete Fairbanks being a guy as well. And with Yandy Diaz, he's also off to a bit of a slow start, but has a great track record. I could definitely see the Rays looking to make some moves moves, even if they are a few games out. Speaking of the Red Sox, at number 7, I got a Red Sox outfielder. Now, as of right now, the Red Sox are sitting at 500 with a record of 10-10, like I said, coming off a series win against the Rays. Now, you might be wondering, Robbie, which Red Sox outfielder do you mean? And why would the Red Sox want to trade one of their starting outfielders when they have high expectations for the postseason this year, especially after the offseason they had signing Alex Bregman, trading for Garrett Crochet. Now, when it comes to the Red Sox, their starting outfield is Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu, and Ceddanne Rafaela. Now, why would the Red Sox want to trade one of these guys? Well, you have one of the top prospects in the game, the number 2 prospect on Pipeline. I think he should be number 1 because I don't count Roki Sasaki. Roman Anthony, this guy is banging on the door. He's off to a great start at AAA this year, hitting .283 with a .941 OPS, a .441 on base percentage. That is absolutely disgusting. Now, taking a look here from Thomas Nestico, TJ Stats over on X, go follow him. He does these great charts, and he was pointing out all these advanced metrics here yesterday. Look at all the Reds here, the batted ball profile, the expected numbers. He doesn't chase really at all. He walks a ton. Like I said, a .441 on base. You know, sure, has to clean up a couple of things. The whiff percentage is pretty low. Doesn't swing a whole lot when it comes to swinging in the zone. Could clean up the strikeouts a little bit. But Roman Anthony, this guy is going to be the real deal, doing a ton of damage at only 20 years old. And I imagine at some point he's going to force his way into the lineup for the Red Sox. And you're going to have to make some kind of room here. Now, I think out of the 3, the guy that probably has the best chance of getting moved would be Ceddanne Rafaela. Now, you could put him into a utility role on the bench. You know, you could send him down to AAA, but the one thing I think about with him is he's on a contract, an 8-year, $50 million contract. Do you want to be paying someone $6 million per year playing part-time off the bench, and do you want to send that guy down to AAA? And with Ceddanne Rafaela, this is a guy who has a very good glove out in center field, great speed. He's going to improve any defense out there for any team. I think he could be a very good upgrade for a lot of teams. And he's still very young, 24 years old, so there is value with Ceddanne Rafaela. Now, I could maybe see a situation where Wilyer Abreu could come up in trade talks. He got off to a very good start this year. But with Wilyer Abreu, you know, this is a guy who's a very good defensive right fielder. With right field at Fenway Park, that's a huge challenge, you know, for any right fielder out there. He plays extremely well out there, has a great arm. I don't know if the Red Sox would want to move Wilyer Abreu at this point, and I have a hard time seeing them moving Jarren Duran after the season that he just had last year. I just think Ceddanne Rafaela is probably the odd man out. You know, sure, you could just put him in a utility role, but I could see other teams seeing value with him because of the defense and the speed. So I'm going to say right now, one of those outfielders could be up for grabs because Roman Anthony is getting very close to the major leagues. Real quick, everyone, just want to use this time to shout out our sponsor over at Underdog. And right now, you can use my code HYDE to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits. For my picks today, I got Aaron Judge getting over a base and a half against the Rays because he's been red hot lately. Pete Alonso over 7.5 points against the Cardinals, especially with how hot he's been. And Kumar Rocker getting at least 5 Ks against an Angels team that's dropped 3 straight. And I think Rocker is due for a good performance. As always, please play responsibly. At number 6, I got Nolan Arenado. Now, as of right now, the Cardinals are 9-9. They're hanging around, but a lot of people coming into this year weren't very high on the Cardinals. They didn't really do anything this past offseason when it came to adding or subtracting. I mean, they were basically ghosts this past offseason. But one name that kept coming up was Nolan Arenado. And speaking of the Red Sox, it was looking like he was going to go there if they didn't bring in Alex Bregman. And hey, Arenado, a lot of people saying, you know, he's in the twilight of his career. This guy's done. This guy's cooked. And take a look here. He's off to a very good start so far. 17 games, hitting .292, a .378 on base, a .477 on the slugging, a .135 WRC plus, a couple of homers as well. Now, when it comes to the advanced metrics of Arenado, we are seeing similar numbers to last year. The batted ball profile not looking all that good, but one thing he's improving on this year is getting that walk rate up in the 75th percentile as of right now, a 12% walk rate. That's up from last year, which was at a 7%. So he's getting on base a little bit better. He's being a bit more selective at the plate, and he's getting better results overall. Now, he is owed quite a bit of money here over the next couple of years. Contract is up at the end of 2027, but if a team is in need of a bat, let's say maybe the Yankees, they're still trying to figure out what's going on at third base. I could definitely see a team like that being interested in Arenado to help them make a postseason push. At number 5, I got Ryan Helsley. Now, if the Cardinals do indeed end up being sellers at the deadline, Ryan Helsley will absolutely be up for grabs at the deadline. I thought he was going to get moved this past offseason, but ended up staying put. If the Cardinals do trade him at the deadline, hey, they got to feel pretty excited about that. Go back to last year's trade deadline. Teams were getting hauls for relievers last year. Look at what the Marlins got for Tanner Scott. They got a ginormous package for him. Ryan Helsley will definitely bring back a lot of value to the Cardinals. He's off to a great start so far this year. 7 games, ERA at a 2.57, fifth at a 3.01, racking up the strikeouts, 11.5 strikeouts per 9 so far. Now, the command is a little off so far. He's walking a lot of guys, almost 8 walks per 9 as of right now. But with Helsley, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a ton of velocity, very good stuff with him. He would be an amazing addition for a lot of bullpen. He would be an amazing addition for every bullpen out there. At number 4, I got Pablo Lopez. Now, coming into the season, I was a little unsure about the Twins. They definitely have some talent on the Major League roster. I just worry about the depth within their organization, especially when you have a lot of injury risks on the Major League roster, like Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton, Royce Lewis, Joe Ryan missed some time last year. So I'm just a little concerned about that. And as of right now, the Twins are off to a pretty bad start, 7-12. They have won a couple of games here this past week. So let's see if they can get themselves back on track. Only 3.5 out in the division as of right now, so they could definitely turn their season around. But if they do end up being sellers at the deadline, one guy I got my eye on was Pablo Lopez. He was popping up a couple of times this past offseason. There were some rumors that the Twins were a little concerned with the payroll. With ownership right now, it's a little uncertain. Are they going to be selling the team? I don't know, but Pablo Lopez, he's owed a bit of money here over the next few years, but he's on a pretty friendly contract overall, just over $18 million with the AAV. But with Pablo Lopez, you know what you're going to get with him. He's going to be a workhorse kind of a guy that you could definitely trust to start a postseason game. He's off to a good start here. 3 starts, 16 2/3 innings pitched, ERA at a 1.62, FIP at a 3.25. Just a very solid guy to have in your rotation. And hey, teams are always looking to add at the deadline when it comes to pitching. I do wonder if the contract ends up being a little something. Same thing with Arenado. He's owed a bit of money as well. So I wonder if the money owed could end up being a bit of an issue. But when it comes to the talent, there is definitely nothing to worry about with Pablo Lopez. He's a pretty safe bet overall. So look out for Pablo Lopez if the Twins aren't in contention. At number 3, I got Framber Valdez, and I know Astros fans are going to get very grumpy at me here, but hear me out. Now, with the Astros, they're 8-10 as of right now. Same thing with what I was just saying with the Twins. They could definitely get going here. I just mentioned earlier how last year they got off to a terrible start, and they still made it to the postseason. Only 3 games out in the division right now, but the one thing with the Astros that I think about is, yes, they turned their season around last year, but they had Kyle Tucker, they had Alex Bregman, so I feel like their roster is a bit weaker this year. Sure, they brought in Christian Walker, Isaac Paredes. That definitely helps, but, that's not Kyle Tucker or Alex Bregman. I know Kyle Tucker missed a bit of time last year, but during the time that he played, he was very productive overall. So, they lost a lot there with those 2 guys. And with Framber Valdez, he's also going to be a free agent after this coming year. So if the Astros are out of it, I could definitely see teams making some phone calls to the Astros trying to see what it would take to get Framber Valdez. This guy's one of the top pitchers in the game for a while now. He's a proven postseason performer. Sure, ERA is not looking great through 4 starts, 4.91, FIP at a 3.37 though, but the track record with Framber Valdez, he's definitely a proven guy. Again, will the Astros be in contention at that time? I just wonder, kind of what's the situation going to be. Remember, these are power rankings. This could be absolutely different. The next time I do this, I'm just going off of, what's the landscape like currently. But again, I just worry a little bit about the Astros. And if they're out of it by the deadline, I think Framber Valdez could absolutely be up for grabs. At number 2, I got Luis Robert Jr. Now, a lot of these guys on this list are question marks on whether or not they're going to get traded by the deadline. But I think we can all agree that Robert is definitely going to get moved by the deadline if he's healthy. Now, with Robert, he is off to a bit of a slow start this year. 16 games, only hitting 143, a 34 WRC plus, does have a home run. But I think the important thing with Robert is that he's healthy so far. That's been the one concern with him over the years, is whether or not he can stay on the field. But when he does stay on the field, this guy could definitely do a lot of damage. Now, right now, you are seeing a couple of things that could be a good sign for Robert to heat up a little bit. He's getting a good amount of barrels. This bat speed is looking very solid. Walk percentage is looking very good compared to recent years. Now, with Robert, you are going to get the strikeouts, but you are going to get very good speed, good defense out in center field as well. When healthy, he can be a very productive player for a lot of teams out there. I think it's only a matter of time that Robert's going to get moved. Hopefully, he stays healthy. I just want this guy to get traded already. And at number 1, I got Sandy Alcantara. Now, I know this is an obvious one, but he's still working his way back from Tommy John. He's still not looking like his pre-Tommy John self fully, but you are seeing a couple of good signs. 3 starts so far. ERA doesn't look great at a 4.70, but the FIP looks solid at a 3.86. And we'll take a look at the advanced metrics. You are getting some good run values up here. Velo is looking good. He's averaging 97 miles per hour. That's very good after coming back from Tommy John. Is getting a good amount of ground balls. Just got to see those whiffs come up a little bit, improve those walks a little bit. But again, still working his way back. We know this guy can be one of the top pitchers in the game when he's on top of his game and he's healthy. You know there is going to be a huge market for Alcantara. He's on a team-friendly deal, a 5-year, $56 million deal that's up after next year. So I could definitely see teams lining up out the door to try and get this guy. And the Marlins, they are going to be managing his innings here in the first half. So you don't got to worry, about really an innings limit for him overall, because the Marlins, they're going to keep that in check. I could definitely see a lot of teams looking to get out of the mix here. I've mentioned before, teams like the Orioles, I think would be a great spot. Maybe even the Rangers, depending on the health of their organization. You can never count out the Dodgers when it comes to getting a trade done. Who knows? Maybe even the Red Sox, maybe the Yankees could get in on it. We'll just have to wait and see. But everyone, those are my power rankings for right now. Like I said, I am going to be updating these as we get closer to the deadline in July. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you think anyone should be on this list as of right now? Let me know down below in the comments. Let me know some guys who you think could get added to this list at some point. Let me know your thoughts down below. But everybody, that's all I got for right now. If you can on the way out, hit the like button for me, and also subscribe. And I do just want to say thank you to everyone. You helped us get to 50,000 subscribers. That blows my mind, to be completely honest with you. That is just crazy to see that number. Your guys' support has just been amazing over the years since we started this channel back in 2019. I'm just very thankful for everything, for all the support from everyone here that has subscribed. But everybody, go have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you next time.